when I was 18, there's this thing called Forex trading. Forex trading is a real way to make money. I made $500 while I was sleeping one night. And then the next night I lost $3,500. So what happens is, there are these things, and what happens because we're humans is we get addicted to, getting addicted to vapes isn't the only way that you can be addicted to something. You can get addicted to games. You can get addicted to alcohol. You can get addicted to, how do I make money the fastest way and the easiest way. That's called, when you're doing that, that's a dopamine hit. You heard of dopamine? So dopamine is the pleasure drug that is a naturally occurring source that we have in us. Dopamine is that feeling that you got when you saw your uncle raise his hand in church during a prayer. It's that feeling of joy and excitement and that gratification that you get from something happening. And what happens with people that do things like vape or gamble or drugs or sex is they get that same feeling of gratification and they go, oh man, how do I get that again? For me, it was, I made $500. How do I make that $500 again the next day? Oh man, I made another $500. Now I made $1,000 in 2 days. Now I'm doing calculations in my head. Man, if I make $500 a day and I do this 5 days a week, that's $2,500 a week. That's $10,000 in a month. And my dopamine is just going crazy. And then on day 5, I lose $3,500. So that's why it's anytime something feels good and anytime something seems like gratifying, I would say something smart to do is to check yourself on, is this thing right here related to God? And am I putting God first with this? Right? Like if your thing is like with this podcast, when I do this podcast, it feels great to sit down and talk to the different people, sitting here talking to you, having these types of conversations, talking
it's
to
great. It's fun.
Business owners. Yeah, my dopamine is lighting up, but I would always test that against, am I doing this with God in mind? Am I honoring God? Am I honoring like what he wants me to be doing with my talent and my resources? And if I found that there was something I was doing with this podcast that was not doing that, I would shut this whole thing down. Because if it's not doing that, eventually everything that God has us do is to our benefit. Anything that we do just because we enjoy it, it's a very easy thing for the devil to work his way into that. So we always have to be careful when we do that. Whether it's spending time, the devil can get a hold of us while we're spending time with family. Like let's say if you're hanging out with some uncles or whatever and you get invited to vape, is that going to kill you right then and there? No, but it might be
addicting. Yeah.
And for you to get started on that, and now you're spending however much money goes into that and da-da-da-da-da. And you're smart enough that I'm sure that you will do what is the smartest thing for you and the best thing for you. So, I have faith in you in that. But anytime that you're doing something, you always want to stress test it against, is this what God would have me do? Or am I doing this in a way that's honoring God truly?